Minecraft has had many updates over the years, adding new biomes, animals, and various functions to the game to help it grow and improve. But there is one thing that seems to be fan favorites whenever they are added, and that is blocks. In a blocky world where everything is made of blocks, it's no surprise that we players love having more blocks to build and play with. Recently, I think of the tough block variants or the pale oak wood as examples of blocks added that people have been so excited about, and that builds people are creating with them are amazing. Well, we don't have to sit around and wait for Mojang to add more blocks because we can add them ourselves. They're mods. As this whole series has been for, we're adding different mods. And today we're going to be looking at a few different mods that add new and exciting blocks to help us decorate our builds with. Now, many mods add new blocks, whether it be new dimensions with their own unique blocks like the Twilight Forest and the variety of new trees and woods, or the Aether with its unique dirt and grass and wood types, as well as different stone varieties. Or at Astra that adds several planets, each with their own unique biospheres with unique blocks. Or such as tech mods, which tend to add their own decorative blocks that help you build with a certain theme or style. Or there'll be steampunk-like blocks added by Create, or industrial-type blocks added by Immersive Engineering, or futuristic blocks for things like Applied Energetics. Then there are mods that add and expand on those themes, like Create Deco or Engineer's Decor, that are additions to the main mod's theme, adding more and more decorative blocks. Absolutely love these. These are fantastic mods. Then there are mods that go just beyond just art blocks. These include many that are mentioned above, such as those that add furniture or different lighting or different aspects to the game that are purely aesthetic, like fairy lights or like Macaw's furniture, roofs, bridges, doors, windows, etc., or McCrayfresh's furniture mod, which adds trampolines and grills, or various many others. And each of these mods I think are great additions to different themes, and links for all the ones I've mentioned are below, and I have them in a lot of them in my mod pack that I'm working with here, and we'll see them throughout our builds. But today I wanted to dive deeper into a few mods that stand alone and fit into more of the Vanilla Plus feel and are great additions to any mod packs, as well as a few honorable mentions we'll mention at the end. So as you've been seeing here behind us, I've got a time lapse of me starting to do a layout of our log cabin build, and we're going to take and look at these mods and improve what we've got here. I just used cobblestone as kind of a placeholder to give me a kind of a shape and feel of it. Let's dive right in. Alright, so here we are. First off, I want to apologize. The second half of my time lapse didn't record. You didn't miss much. I didn't touch anything with the actual build here. I just added some aesthetic type stuff here, detailing. I don't know if that's going to be where it permanently stands. I just was playing around with the mod we're going to take a look at right now. So let's take a look. The first mod we're going to take a look at is a very popular mod, and it's one that you see in a lot of mod packs because it is done very well. It's kind of a successor to the Chisel mod. A lot of these are. That's kind of one of the original ones back from, I don't know, 1.7 or even before that, I don't know, where it basically does variations of the blocks. So obviously we're talking about the chipped mod. And if you're not familiar with this, what it does is it does the same kind of variants or whatever, Quark and supplementaries and a few of those other ones will add variants to. And, for example, Quark, it just does it here through the Stonecutter, adds some different varieties. But Chipped actually adds these different workbenches that you have to create in order to manipulate different kinds of blocks. And there are 7 different ones here, so we're going to take a look at them. Some of them are pretty cheap, some of them are a little bit more expensive. This one hurt me a little bit, especially this early in the game, but luckily we found that Wizard's Tower over there and found some brewing potion, brewing stand, because I haven't been to the Nether yet. So how this works is you grab whatever kind of block you want, you go to the appropriate station. So let's come in here real quick and let's look at the recipes for these. So there's the Botanist Workbench, which is just some slabs, sticks, crafting table, and 3 flower pots. Not crazy. Now this does anything kind of organic, so dirt, pumpkins, leaves, all that kind of stuff, all done through the Botanist Workbench. The Glass Blower is some stripped logs, or I guess just logs of any kind. Iron, glass, and a blast furnace. So a little bit of iron, but not crazy expensive. The carpenter's table is a wooden axe and a iron ingot. This one we're going to use a lot because, you know, the different varieties for wood and stuff like that is a big piece of what we're trying to do. And then the mason's table is another one, is the next one that we're probably gonna use a lot, and that end is just a brick, 2 iron, and some clay. This does all of your stone types. A very, very handy one there as well. The loom does anything with wool. So your wool blocks, your carpet blocks, that kind of stuff. And all of these are compatible with JEI, so if you click on uses, the problem is you see 368 pages because every single one of these blocks here is going to show you that you can plug it in and get these out. So that's a little aggravating. So you have to kind of sift through these quick. You see blue wool, brown wool. There's a lot. And then there's the Tinker's Bench. This allows us to do things like iron bars, sea lanterns, glowstone, redstone lamps, redstone itself, a lot of redstone. Lanterns, which is really cool. You can do a lot of different kind of lanterns, which is awesome. Add a variety to your lighting. Soul lanterns, big lantern. Apparently once you make a big lantern, you can only turn it back into other big lanterns. Anyway, so tinkering table, not as much as the other ones. Last but most definitely not least is the alchemy table, because it takes a freaking enchantment table and a brewing stand, which, you know, later game, that's not a big deal, but geez, for me, who I've done a tiny bit of mining and that sucker over there, right there, you see that tower in the distance? That saved our bacon. And a few diamonds we found. But the alchemy bench does frying obsidian, or any of the metal blocks are going to be through here as well, like your amethyst crystals, your lapis lazuli, all those kind of blocks are going to be going through here. You know, diamonds, emeralds, golds, you name it. And as far as metals and crystals and those kind of things. So let's see this in action. So I've got this cobblestone here. We took a look at that here. Now you can search if you're looking for a specific one, like eroded cobblestone. There you go. That way, when there's the big sets like cobblestone or coal or whatever, you can easily find the one you're looking for. Now you can look at these in single, vertical, or 4x4. That kind of is good for some of the ones that have textures. For example, if you take a look at the cobblestone pillar, you can see that when it's stacked all together, connected textures connect, and it kind of shows you that stuff. So that's why that's important there. You can see here these like ones with the border. The textures connect, and they actually look fantastic. So you can do some really cool designs and things with these mods that we're going to look at, especially this one, top tier. I mean, you look at the models on these tables and workbenches, they're fantastic. You almost want to just add these into your shop for the aesthetic appeal. But you've kind of seen, I've done kind of a pseudo Baroque floor here. Parquet floor? I'm saying that wrong. I work in construction architecture. I should know that. Anyway, so I did a vertical version of these oak slabs, and I kind of switched them back and forth. Now I'm going to come in and I'll get some other textures in here. I really just did this outline to get kind of the shape and feel of my building. And then I'll start putting a roof on it and have kind of a loft in there. We're going to have a wraparound porch. It's going to come around here. I think it's only going to come to about here. And then we have a basement in here. We're going to put a lot of our workshop down here. Lots of space. So storage, workshop, that kind of stuff. Kitchen, sleeping room, all that kind of stuff. Upstairs, nice porch to just sit out and look over the valley. And as you can see here, it just adds more variety. So, you know, we've got this dirty gravel, which is a nice transition between a gravel and, you know, coarse dirt. There's some really cool sand ones that I like to use when I'm doing kind of paths and roads and things like that. Really, Chipped adds a variety to every single, or just about every block from vanilla Minecraft. Now, another cool thing is a lot of the textures, it'll actually carry a continuity. So like the bricks or, eroded or all that kind of stuff, you can kind of see that theme pass along through. And then, you know, a chiseled version or things like that kind of have its own flair with the block. I really like doing a lot of different things in here. You know, you look at the leaves, for example, you can create a lot more realistic looking or diverse looking orchards, or you see the cobwebs here. There's some pretty cool stuff you can do with that. So we're going to be doing some really cool things, and it's going to bring our builds to life a lot better, especially for those like me who aren't traditionally really good at kind of the texturing stuff. This is gonna help spur that creativity and help it be a little bit more, or give me a helping hand. I don't have to kind of be too creative with just kind of the regular vanilla blocks. Tend to not be as creative as I probably should be. Cool thing here is it also adds door varieties. So say you like the birch texture door, but you want it in the oak color, you can do that. Plus a whole bunch of other ones here. Trap doors, windows, glass, torches. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I'm scrolling through, there's just page after page. Now, it does have some integrations with other blocks, which is cool, or with other mods, which is cool. As you can see here, some of my modded metals, I can actually use chip to switch back and forth between them, and that's actually due to the chisel add-in I have for chip. So what it does is it adds some of those cool factory type blocks and the kind of different integrations with other mods from the old chisel mod into chipped, so you can use the chipped blocks here, or the chipped workstations, to create those. So we have our old factory blocks, laboratory blocks, I don't know which one's the main one. So these are old blocks from the chisel mod. This now brings those into chip, as well as adding this drill, which I don't know what this does. We're gonna have to make this real quick and see what this does, because that says right click on there to select part of the texture. Right click on the block tool. All right, Fusion McCastle here. I did figure this out, so I'm gonna insert this in here. It's actually pretty cool. So let's take a look. And right here, I'm next to this tinkering table, which is what we're gonna need. There are a few blocks that use this drill. I tried to test on a few things. I cut that out because it's a little embarrassing, but we're gonna come in here, we're gonna do this technical block, and we're gonna make this massive fan. As you can see here, there's a few of them that say use drill to change the texture. So any of the ones that say that is what we actually use the drill for. So we also have this one here, and then this plating here. Lastly, we have the factory. There is one on here. If we take a look here, it's this old Vince block right here. So we'll come over here and we'll lay these out. So basically what these do is these allow for a 9x9 texture to be made using these blocks. Now, that looks fine, right, in its own, but with these textures, you actually can make it look even better. All right, and at first I was a little, I was like, why don't they just make it so it's a connected texture, and that way you just place the blocks and I'll automatically have them. And that might work for maybe these two here, but that doesn't really work for the fan one here, and you'll see why here. So basically what you do is you take this drill and you click on a block. First you right click and you tell it which one you want. So for example, we'll do the top right corner. We'll see that. Now I'm going to come in here and just click on all these since I've already got it selected. To the top, middle, and all right, there we go. So as you can see here, it basically allows for these larger textures. The fan's important because, again, if it was just a connected textures that relied on, where you placed it and things like that, you'd have a hard time getting this to place, right? So you place it here, say you want it in this specific area. The connected textures usually work wherever you place it, it goes. Anyway, what I'm getting at is it doesn't work, and you can see here on the back side, it looks pretty goofy. So it's really kind of directional, and I think even if you went over here and you tried to change this block, it would look different on here. So that looks great. This one obviously looks fantastic for, the larger plating. I'm going to be honest here, I don't see much difference with this. I'm sure if I lay them next to each other, obviously this texture repeats a lot. This one doesn't, but not as, I guess, stark as the other ones to me, which maybe that's its strength. You can see here you've got this kind of the hex plating, the large hex plating. This one, I think these two personally are my favorite, and we'll be using, but these ones are cool too. Anyway, wanted to come show these off as they're pretty awesome. And this one, watching Mumbo Jumbo's been doing some cool redstone fans, which makes all this modded stuff look cheap. We just get it with, a texture, but he's doing it awesomely there. Anyway, there's that. Another nice thing that it does is it allows you to change blocks from one mod to another. For example, uranium. I just mined during my last mining session some uranium from Immersive Engineering. You can actually use that to transfer it into Alex Cave's uranium. Now, is that a little cheaty? I don't know. You could probably turn that off with some sort of config or JSON file, but we're just going to leave it. It might be convenient for later on. So we're going to use a lot of these here in this build, and we're going to do that here in just a minute. We're going to kind of do a time lapse of me utilizing these blocks, and we'll take a look at them here in a minute. But I wanted to take a look at a few of these other mods that we're looking at. Now, the next mod we're going to be taking a look at is called Builder's Delight. Now, it does use a chisel. It's another one of those kind of successors of that. I really really like some of the stuff that it adds to the texturing and whatnot. It also adds some furniture, so it adds some unique blocks that are just part of it. The chip mod just tends to focus on Minecraft vanilla blocks, adding tons of different textures to that. The only blocks that it adds, again, are the workbenches, and then with the chisel chipped add-on that I have, it adds a few other ones, right? But most of that one stays pretty vanilla. Now, Builder's Delight does stay pretty vanilla in the texturing and stuff like that, except for it does add a few things. So let's take a look here. So for everything you're gonna wanna make is this iron chisel, and it's pretty basic. It's just a stick, 2 string, and an iron. And it works the same way as most chisel ones, where you right click, you can add the blocks up here, you pick which variety. Now, this one's a little bit more basic in that it doesn't add tons and tons of variety to the different things, which can be nice. And now I could change this back to cobblestone if I wanted, but here I've got some pillars. You see they kind of function as you'd expect. Adds some nice stuff there. Now, like I said, it additionally adds furniture. We've got a little spruce chair and table I made here while I thought I was recording. But I'm going to show you how we make those now that I am recording. So you can see here, here's kind of Builder's Delight. You can see it takes all the different wood varieties and it adds the same kind of thing. Now, the other nice thing that this does that Chip doesn't is it does slab and stairs for a lot of the blocks that you see here. Not all of them, but a lot of them, especially the wood ones here. That's the one kind of downside of Chip is it's just full blocks. You can combine that with, say, a frame blocks, or for example, in our mod pack, we have the Copycats Plus, so we can still get those textures on slabs and stairs, but it's not kind of built in with the mod. Whereas here, we're getting that. Now it also has these different window varieties, both full glass and pane version for a lot of the different wood types, as well as these kind of framed versions of them as well. So it has the wood, it then has the different stone varieties. It also adds a few different blocks here. For example, gilded blackstone, you can turn into this cut gilded blackstone, which then has a few different varieties. Gilded nether bricks, which it adds is just quartz and nether bricks, but there's a few different cool variations you can do on that. It does its own laboratory type blocks. There's some cool ones here. It is just some version of stone and quartz, very similar to the other ones. Again, I think they were kind of going off of that old chisel theme. Now their chisel mod has been updated. Someone picked it up, but it hadn't been for a long time, so that's why a lot of these other ones kind of cropped up. I really like some of the textures and things inside of Builder's Delight, so that's why we're going with it here. Industrial one has some cool different vents and things like that, and the light and the vents actually interact with redstone, which I think is cool. And 5 blocks make 16, so that's not too bad of a trade-off. Now with these kind of industrial ones, at least not these other warning stripe ones here, but from here down, you can actually turn them into a flat version, which is pretty cool. And it's just by placing it in here and you get 6 out. The cool thing is these interactive ones, both the flat version and the full block version are interactable. Alright, so I plonk this down, we'll do the slabs here, or flat version, they're thinner than slabs, which is cool. If I come in here, see, lights up, which is awesome. Well, you don't need redstone. Apparently, you just can right-click them. Now, these ones do interact with redstone, which is cool. But these ones apparently don't. These ones just work by clicking. But you see it's got a nice animated texture, do some cool fans. It's awesome. Really, really like the little additions they got on there. I also really like the lanterns and lamps and chains that they add. You know, they had some rope looking stuff and some really cool things that we can take a look at and we will be using in our build up here. I want to take a look at the furniture part of it real quick. So to make the furniture, it doesn't have a traditional crafting recipe. Actually, you need to create these these furniture kits. As you can see down here, there is one for every kind of wood. And again, it's just that wood type and then 4 string, and you get 2 furniture kits out of it. And then actually you bring them over to the stone cutter and you put them in the stone cutter. And from those furniture kits, you can create any of these different kinds here. So I can create like a stool type thing and another table, and these chairs and the stools, you can sit on them. They work just fine, which is awesome. Just adds a little bit more decoration to your world. But overall, I really like the aesthetics of this mod. There's a ton of cool things in there, a lot of cool textures, and we're going to be utilizing some of that here. And we're going to be kind of mixing and matching these, you know, just because this is a giant kitchen sink. These kind of go together. The last one we're going to be looking at here is a really cool one, and it goes kind of in the opposite direction. So we had Chip that just used vanilla blocks, and all it does is change textures. And then we added that chisel add-on that adds those few different blocks. And then we had the Builder's Delight, which does variations on more than just blocks, but it also adds a few of its own blocks, like the framed windows, the framed blocks, the industrial type stuff as well as furniture. Now, this last one, it adds a lot of variations to the different blocks, but it does it more in a vanilla way instead of just kind of retexturing. And the one we're looking at here is called Architect's Palette. Now, Architect's Palette, I think, adds, only 4 pages of stuff here, which doesn't sound like a lot, but there's quite a bit in here. But it's got some cool different interactions. This kind of has the vanilla sense of these things you need to craft versus just using a block or workbench to texture them. They are their own sense, like the bricks. You create the tiles by combining, or the bricks from combining 4 tiles, and all that kind of stuff is not reversible. Similar to how vanilla Minecraft stone bricks and things like that are. And it adds quite a variety. So it's got some are just compacting stuff, like the salmon. You're compacting salmon together. It gives you this aesthetic cut of salmon you can put out of your fireplace or whatever to be roasted stuff. But these 2 up here we're going to take a look at later. It gives this cool kind of burnt charcoal block, which is just 4 charcoal now. It has some cool decorative plating, pipes, some different light stuff. We're going to use a lot of these as well. I think there's some really cool stuff in here. Some sun metal, different metals you can create using nether stuff. Again, it's a little bit more immersive than just the other 2, and that I really like that. Now, there is a few more, well, there's more than one. There's a few more parts of it that we're going to look at here. A lot of this stuff you can craft using other stuff. Some of the stuff like these different rods here you actually find in the nether. They grow from the roof. And there's some stuff from the end that you have to go find. We're not going to be able to look at those today because I'm not making it to the end. But we are going to go to the nether, and we're going to get some stuff that we need to craft some of the stuff here. And there's actually a cool interaction, our way of kind of crafting stuff that uses a nether portal. So that being said, let's go do a quick nether portal build, and then we'll come back after we're done there, and maybe we'll end with a time lapse of us adding or finishing out this log cabin using these different blocks. All right, so we've just come down the hill. You can see the cabin right there. We're gonna build a little graveyard here. Now, this will serve a few different purposes. We'll do a graveyard here. This is gonna be the edge of our little town here. Like I said, I want that to kind of be, oh, hey, snake. I want that to be kind of out of town a little bit, our little thing. We've got our mine entrance right there, and a nice path I'm going to build coming straight down here in the road. This will kind of be the outskirts of town here, which we're going to build in this kind of nice flat plain area here. Might eventually make it all the way over to that wizard's tower, which we'll incorporate into the town or whatever. And then we'll build like a church off to the side of the graveyard. We'll put our clerics in there, all that kind of stuff. This will serve a couple of purposes. Again, aesthetically, I think it'll be awesome to have one. If we ever have any, pets or friends or whatever that die, we'll build them a gravestone and dedicate it to them. But the other thing we're going to do here is I'm going to kind of create these little mausoleums to house different things. So this mausoleum, for example, over here, starting to outline, I think is where we're going to do some maybe mob spawning and stuff. You'll come in here and you'll either go down to some catacombs or something like that. But over here, I'm going to create a little kind of mausoleum type piece, and this is where our nether portal is going to be. I think that's kind of a cool fit for it, is to be inside of a graveyard. So I'm not too far from our house, so we can come down here if we need to pop over into the nether. So let me build this real quick. We're going to utilize some deep slate, kind of give it that dark whatever feel using these different blocks. So I'm going to go get those workbenches, set them up over here while we're working, and yeah, build a little kind of cool mausoleum, and why not? So we'll see you after that time lapse is done. So as you can see here, something happened with my replay. Now, this has to do with when you start editing mods inside of your mod folder, updating them, changing them, adding them, subtracting them. It messes up the registries for the IDs or something like that. So obviously this is something that's really hard to look at, but I did find a fix. As you can see here, I was able to have that same world replay fixed. I'll go over that solution in a separate video after I'm done editing these, but unfortunately that meant that this replay didn't quite happen. As you can see here, this is what came out while I was building it. It really didn't. It was useless. So you can see here, again, able to fix it after the fact. So we'll go over a fix for that for anyone who's having the same issue with the replay mod, adding, changing, updating mods. But anyway, we'll jump to where I'm done. All right, well, here we are, far from done. As you can see, it's missing a roof and, glass and a few other things. But I'm ready to light that nether portal, and I'm ready to go to the nether because I want to use nether brick and a few other things in this build, as well as, some soul fire and stuff like that, to soul lanterns and blah, blah, blah. All that kind of stuff to kind of give it that kind of nethery feel. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to light this portal, and then we're going to show off one of the cool special mechanics that the Architect's Palette brings. And it's some pretty cool stuff. So you're going to want to take a look here. All right, so let's light this up. But you can see here, some of the different chipped blocks that we utilized here, just to kind of give it that texture and variety. It makes it, not so uniform and bland, and really kind of livens it up. And makes it easy, like I said, for someone like me who's not, fantastic at texturing. This really makes it just kind of stupid easy. The different variety of things, the pillars, it's really kind of adds a lot. I had some black stone I found in that chest from that wizard's tower, kind of give it that kind of feel that there's different bricks that are different ages, different floor textures. Now I'm gonna probably change this floor up and add some, like I said, some cool soul campfires and stuff in here to make it kind of feel all nethery. But let's dive in. Not my favorite, mostly because of Alex mobs. Oh hey, those right there. I hate those things. Oh my frig, there's a lot of them. Well, apparently there's some like mosquito repellent stuff you can make. We'll probably be looking into that, especially if our portal leads here to a Crimson Forest. Oh, jeez. So here is some of those Monzonite rods that those different rods that we were talking about from, oh my gosh. There's the Monzonite, the Econite, and the Heliodor rod. They're pretty cool. They also give off a light level, which is awesome. I'm actually going to use these as the windows. This was my plan, so I'm glad we found some right away. I didn't have to come up with a different plan or search forever. I was actually hoping for a warped forest. I wanted to do some green tints to it, but we'll keep looking. We might find one. I'm also going to grab some glowstone, so we can do lots of different things with that. Well, that was not ideal, but we'll work with what we got. But I wanted to show now one of those features that Architect's Palette adds. It's got some functionality called warping, which essentially is there's certain blocks, if you throw them through the nether portal, they will come out the other side as something else. So, for example, this wood here pops right in. Same with that sapling, come through here. So we got twisted wood, or twisted sapling and twisted log. So it's just this purplish log. It's got, the strip variants, the wood variants. Can be used along with a lot of those other wood types, right? But if we come in here, we see that, this abyssaline can be turned into hetaline. This onyx here is created from granite being tossed through. And then this warp stone is just clay. So here we go, warping. There's the abyssal stone. There's a thing called sunstone you can turn into moonstone. Netherite becomes unobtainium. Granite to onyx. Logs into twisted logs. Abyssaline into hetaline. Clay into warpstone. Raw and flesh block. You can make entrails. That's lovely. Dorite becomes this nebulite. Andesite into this esoteric. Cobblestone, crater stone. Moon shale. From stone. Leaves you can make into these twisted leaves, right? So there's quite a bit there. Anyway, it's a cool mechanic. I think it's just a little bit more unique than just using a chisel to add these different varieties. So one of the reasons I really like this Architect's Palette, it's more immersive, like I said. And so we're gonna go ahead and I wish I could make these into panes. I mean, I could use copycats or whatever, but maybe we'll just use them on the back and the front here, and we'll actually use some different window variants for our other windows here. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and go back into the nether, collect some netherrack to smelt into nether brick for the roof, as well as looking for some soul sand in order to make that other stuff. And we'll finish out the time lapse here on this little build. there you have it. There's our kind of crappy nether portal mausoleum. I kind of hate it, but we'll probably come back and revisit this later. Honestly, I need to get this done. It's been 2 weeks since I started this video, so we're ready to be done. Sometimes it's okay to accept a defeat for now, and then, you know, revisit it later. Also, I have been doing some updating on the pack, and so I don't have the copycat slabs, which I was intending to use for the roof to give it some variety. So we've got a few things we need to wait for to get updated, and then once they do, we'll fix this. But anyway, that gives you just a good idea of these different mods. There's so much more to them, and as we kind of explore them in this series, I'll make sure to kind of point out the different things. I need to go to an ocean monument to get, or at least to a shipwreck and find some treasure. We need a Heart of the Sea, as well as, you know, some prismarine and other things in order to finish out some of the cool features of Architect's Palette. But we'll revisit these as we get going. Don't you? Feathers in my face. Don't you worry. We'll revisit these. But I wanted to introduce these to you because we're going to be using them throughout this series, and I think they're really cool, and they add a lot to our build. Because obviously this looks like garbage, but that's because I'm garbage. Or at least my building skills are. Don't worry, I don't have that low self-esteem. I need to get my building skills up. So we will revisit this build amongst others. I think in the next one we're gonna finally get to create, because, you know, it's a little ridiculous that we haven't visited create yet in this mod pack. Anyway, so we'll probably do a behind the scenes one next, where we lay out the city, do create, and I hope to see you guys there. And I appreciate everyone for watching, liking, and all that kind of stuff. It really helps, and it's good to hear your feedback in the comments as well. So please tell me what I did wrong here and what you would do to improve this little mausoleum here. Obviously, the black stone sucks. I think that's what's killing it for me. All the windows. I forgot the windows. I have more of that stuff. I'm just going to stick it in the windows for now. We'll replace it later with other things. Once we get the copycat panels, maybe we'll put it in there. Well, I have panels. Doesn't matter. I will catch you all on the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.